Yo, activated Talk Squad. Welcome back to the platform where we get real and dig deep into topics that move you. Today, we've got a legend joining us today. From the Namibia Rugby Union. Am I giving more justice to that? Okay.
Not the legend part, but the Namibia Rugby Union.
Okay. Very well. We are not just talking tackles and tries and toughs. We are diving into the hearts of rugby, leadership, resilience, and its power to shape our nation. So buckle up. Let's get activated. So before we actually, get into the whole thing of podcasting here, could you kindly perhaps just do us a bit of an introduction of who we are having today as our guest speaker, please?
Well, my name is PETRIE Theroon. I'm the president of the Namibia Rugby Union, based in Windhoek. That's my passion. I'm actually a lawyer by profession, practicing here in Windhoek for the last almost 30 years.
A lawyer?
I am, yes, yeah.
Most people actually say that, most of these guys playing rugby, they are into other professions, then they want to go internationally and dominate. And how does that work?
Well, things have changed. In my time, rugby was completely amateur. Professional rugby, as we know, it was only born literally in 1995 internationally. And, ever since then, people have started to transgress into it. So we've got a sort of a system where we're amateurs, but we have local-based talent that plays internationally as professionals. So we've got a bit of a hybrid, but currently in the country itself, we are amateur code.
Yeah, I saw actually that most of the players play internationally for big clubs from Asia to South America, Europe. Could you also just give us an overview of the Namibian rugby, the upcoming of Namibian rugby from
exactly. Sort of like an overview of what rugby is exactly in the Namibian context,
Rugby has started in Namibia in 1990.
Wow.
So it's over 100 years old. So it's an old code, but over the years it's developed and after independence we continued, and obviously we started to qualify for the World Cup way back, and it's now been our 7th time that we've qualified, which we were really proud of. But obviously it's a legacy that we want to continue. For future generations. So that's the tough job that we have. But rugby is a sport that's open to everybody. It was usually seen as a traditional white sport way back before independence, but it was already played by multiple races and races and all of that over the years. What has happened with independence, the two main streams of rugby just joined hands and then walked together after independence, which was actually fantastic because suddenly you have access to all the other talent, So I just think that Namibia has got so much talent, especially looking up at people that's not even playing the sport yet. So we have a big drive to start to develop into literally from primary school, see how many kids we can get involved, and we call it Get Into Rugby. The idea is to expose about 250,000 kids over the next 4 to 5 years to the sport, because we know that there's talent,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's really amazing. Hey, that's interesting. Now, just before we actually dive into specifics of rugby, could you perhaps tell us the Namibian Rugby Union? What exactly is the mandate of it? What does it? What is its sole purpose?
It's a federation under the Sports Commission, like soccer is and like athletics is and so forth. So it's the same thing. It's a federation.
Okay.
We have the responsibility of developing the game of rugby as it's known internationally, and as defined in World Rugby's rules and regulations. So we are the guardians of rugby, so to speak, in the country.
Okay, that's amazing. But I want more. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to structure my question very correctly. Yeah, I want more an understanding of the office itself. what initiatives do they have in place to sort of ensure that the rugby is recognized by the citizens of Namibia, so to say? Yeah.
Yes, like all the federations, we've got a constitution. In terms of the constitution, rugby is run by a council consisting of all the registered clubs in the country. They elect a board. That board is headed by myself at the moment. I've got 2 vice presidents and some other board members that represent the regions and also certain of our associates like the refs and so forth. Schools rugby is represented on there as well. And then obviously we've got the operations are run by the office itself, a secretariat if you want to call it that, but it's run by the CEO and his office. So they're employed by the union, and they do the day-to-day running of it. We as the board put strategy in place and make sure that strategy is executed, and they obviously need to go and execute like any company would do.
That's great. I heard you speaking about a lot of Namibians having talent, not to say that they are already part of the rugby teams, but just to say that from that view, perhaps maybe I should ask the question: what is underway, or what is happening to in regards to actually recruiting young people to rugby teams? Do they actually need to come to you, or do you guys have like initiatives in place that find the right players?
Well, what we do is the sport is played at school level.
Oh,
it's from primary school onwards.
Exactly.
So our idea is to introduce the sport into with our Get Into Rugby program into more schools. And expand the game through that, because it's played at primary level, school level, then at secondary school level as well. Your own team, UNAM team, is actually a Premier League club. So what happens is that the clubs literally go in and look for the players around them. So kids leave school and then register with clubs and they play at the clubs. So the club level is literally our in between club and international, so domestic and international. We are bringing in a new, bringing back actually regional competitions so that we can actually play as regions against one another. So it's stronger competitions as an intermediary between the club level and the international level. So those are the things that we're trying to do to have a pathway. So for us, it's important to understand that rugby is played by some people that want to go professional, and some just want to play the game for the love of it because they want to stay amateur. And that's what we try to cater for. We're looking at new initiatives from World Rugby that into non-contact rugby. We've got a huge drive for women's rugby, because we've got probably the biggest opportunity for growth in the women's division. Getting the girls to start to play rugby and taking it through to the national team. We have a national team that's been running for just over a decade. But that's something that's growing slowly. But suddenly internationally has been a big focus on women's rugby. So it's a huge opportunity for ladies to say, listen, I might not be fitted for netball. I might not really fit soccer. Maybe I'm not an athlete like that. But listen, rugby suits me because of attributes that I have. And I see so many ladies playing on a hockey field that should be on a rugby field. On a netball field, it should be on a rugby field. Just my personal opinion, obviously.
Amazing.
But it's an opportunity for them. In the past it was a male dominated sport.
Yeah.
And that's changing. The sport has literally gone open for everybody. They've even got wheelchair rugby. That's just very interesting. Wow. We are just getting off the ground with that as well. We've been being contacted by the Paralympic Committee of Namibia, and they want to joint venture with us in doing that. I take my hat off to those guys, for what they do, even for the disabled thing. So it's literally a sport for everybody and for all.
Well, Petrie, we discussed earlier, we're discussing about how most people are quick to judge when the national team, when the boys goes to play in the national games and they don't perform really good. So they start saying, these guys, they just go there and they just disappoint the country, but there's actually other challenges, like we mentioned, like finances, so apart from the financial challenge, which is I think the biggest challenge, what other challenges does Namibian rugby face, particularly the national rugby team? What other challenges are there?
Well, I must say we need to be able to keep on performing internationally. We need to play stronger teams. That unfortunately means that the only other team in Africa that's ranked above us is the Springboks from South Africa. And they are really strong, but we need to start playing those type of what they call the so-called tier 1 teams, the top 10, 12 teams in the world. We are ranked just outside the top 20 in the world, which is actually the best ranking of most of the sport codes in Namibia. But what we need to do is we need to compete internationally against those stronger teams, and that unfortunately all costs money. If we can professionalize the sport in Namibia, obviously that would create an opportunity where we can keep more of our players based in Namibia, which will greatly increase that as well. But it all goes down to money again. Talent we have, but the talent needs to be developed, and the talent needs to be measured against. You only get better by playing better teams.
True.
So we haven't played enough rugby internationally over the last 4 years before this World Cup. We've only played 8 tests in the 4 years. Yes, COVID happened, so that took care of 2 years of the 4 year. But we only had 8 tests, and of the 8 tests, more than half of them was actually against the other African teams to qualify for the World Cup.
Which is not enough of a challenge.
Well, I don't want to say that because I don't want to be derogatory towards them, but we are not measuring ourselves against them. We are measuring ourselves against the top 20 because we want to see if we can't get into the top 50 in the world. So those are the guys that we're measuring ourselves against. But unfortunately, it takes a lot of money. Just a whole project to qualify for World Cup and prepare for it. Going to the Nations Cup, which is a tournament we had in South America as preparation for this as well. It's $38 million. If we want to really run a proper high professional setup in Namibia, it's going to take about $60 million a year. Yeah. Now, one corporate company cannot do that on their own, not in a Namibian context. So we would require a lot of input from a lot of businesses into that, but also understanding that for us to build this into a professional league, we need to. I think it's a great opportunity to create jobs, especially for youth, because most of the people that will be participating in this as a professional business would be youth. Exactly. So that gives us an opportunity, and it's an investment in that. Government really rates sport, ranks sport as one of the key opportunities to create employment in the country. And I applaud them for that. It's great for them to have the vision to understand that with sport, you not just have employment, but you also have good health. Yeah. You're taking care of your health system suddenly, and all of these things have spin-offs. So as far as I'm concerned, sport should be seen no longer just as a hobby. We should be viewing it and say, listen, sport can change people's lives. And that's the vision that we have for rugby, is to change households one at a time through rugby. We literally want to, it's our passion to have people and explore their full potential. Because a healthy mind, healthy body, that type of, the saying. So if we keep people healthy and fit, they perform so much better in everything else in life. So, and whether you're a disabled or fully abled, it doesn't matter. It's an opportunity we have. We should grab it and we should look at it differently, but we should every single Namibian, take responsibility for it. It's not government's responsibility. Yeah. It's our responsibility as a nation. And when we accept that it's our responsibility, we accept that what we do can change it. And that is what we should be aiming for. Let's lead the rest of Africa in how this should be done. Why should we follow suit everywhere else? Yeah. This nation has shown its resilience over the decades. Why not through this? And I fully believe that Namibians can do it. In my heart, I've got no doubt.
Interesting. Wow. Very well. activators, you can hear that. Let's get activated through rugby. And here it is. We are having Mr. I don't want to spell your name.
PETRIE THERON.
Okay, great. PETRIE THERON from the Namibian Rugby Union. Very well. Before I actually pose this question that I have in my mind right now, when did South Africa actually win the Rugby World Cup? Was it last year?
Yeah, they won it last year.
Won it in 95, 2007, and then in 2019. 95, 2007, 2019, and now 2024.
And as Namibians, we haven't gotten any way closer to that?
No, we're fortunate that we've qualified 7 times in a row.
Which is good.
Which is a really good achievement.
Okay.
We are still searching for that first win, understanding that, we are literally a top. In the past, we've had 20 teams being invited, or actually get to qualify for the World Cup. Now, we ranked outside the top 20, but we've qualified. So, in that sense, we're batting above our averages. But that's not good enough for us. We literally want to get into the top 15, and surprise a few of these top tier 1 teams. And we believe we can do it. But it's going to take a lot of effort, and we're up for the challenge. We just need some assistance from corporates out there and say, listen, hey, let's bet on these guys and bet on Namibians, and let's, as a country, as a corporate community of a country, take this to the next level.
That's very interesting, considering that we've actually went thus far. But if we are to look at South Africa, the way that their wins have been made or consistently, we look at it and it looks so easy for them. What does that mean for Namibia? Like when we look at it in the perspective of rugby, how does it make us feel as Namibians from your perspective, of course?
Given our background, our close connection to South Africa over the decades, we still have a lot of people going to study there, and still have family there. And South Africa is a country with 60 million people. We can't compete with quantities, but we can compete with quality. So we have a lot of talent that goes over there. They play their rugby at universities over there and colleges and so forth. They come back and they plow back into Namibian setup. Some of them get recognized and then given opportunity to play overseas in the professional setup, which is something we've always encouraged in the past. But we'd like to have those guys play back home and then take the Velvitia team, which is the team is known as the Velvitias. Take the team and compete in international competitions. Sort of like rugby's become a completely international game.
Yeah. True.
Yes, obviously with the loyalty part in it. We're doing it for our country.
Exactly.
But we want to compete internationally. That would mean that we need to look at ways to play in other leagues, international leagues, even if it's like you have in UEFA, where those clubs playing one another, across border, have maybe get into some of those competitions. There are some of those competitions running in Europe and so forth. But the thing is with that, again, it's going to cost a lot of money because you need to travel a lot to do that. You can only do that when you become fully professional, because you need to then employ your full team, and the backups, But we've got the backups. 20s are currently practicing. They're playing the Barters Cup, which is the under 20 African Championships in April. So we're looking forward to that. There's a lot of good talent in that team. I'm really looking forward to see them perform.
That's great.
Yeah, Petrie, we spoke earlier about how if sports codes in the country can unite, in the spirit of uplifting the national sports at large. And then we spoke about how last year there was a game at the Hage Stadium, which is the rugby home in Namibia, basically. And how the soccer fans actually almost left the stadium in a mess, in terms of...
Martin, it was a sad day for us, because we thought we would reach out to our brothers in soccer and have them, because they were struggling to get a field that's fit to play on and to assist them. unfortunately, we need to understand that facilities around the country, whether it's soccer, rugby, hockey, tennis, golf, whatever it is, whatever sport it is, it's the responsibility of every single Namibian. It's the responsibility of every single fan to look after it. If you're not going to look after it, your kids are not going to have it. So it's about legacy, about making sure we protect. It's not government that needs to maintain it all. We have to play a small part of it. If that means that, I don't break the chair I'm sitting on, because next weekend nobody can sit on it because there's not a chair left. By not throwing stuff onto the field and so forth. Because, throwing stuff onto the field shows disrespect towards the players. And it doesn't matter what sport it is. So we need to take responsibility as spectators to guard our sports. Doesn't matter which sport it is. So when we start doing that and take responsibility for that, you will suddenly see that, suddenly things are starting to happen. And it doesn't need a lot of money from everybody. But, it's something like picking up a piece of paper in the street. Just look at that. Why was Windhoek rated for decades and decades as the cleanest city in Africa? Well, actually, in some instances, the cleanest city in the world. Because people had the pride to pick it up. We didn't litter. We sort of lost sight of that, We need to get back to the pride of being a Namibian. That's who we are. We look after our own. We come from a tough background. It's tough living in Africa. But we're not shying away from it. And it starts with the small things, picking up a piece of paper, not slamming a door in a school, breaking a window or things like that. When we do these small little things, suddenly it uplifts the whole society. So it's not government's responsibility. It's everybody's responsibility. So it's just my personal view on things. But I firmly believe that when we do things like this, we're going to change our societies. We're not going to make it better for everybody. We're going to leave this place, this planet, in a better place than when we found it when we were born. That's what we should do on Earth. That's our purpose, in my view.
Great. Speaking about uplifting our society, let's look a bit more to the impact part of rugby, beyond the wins and the losses. How does rugby, on your opinion, of course, contribute to building national pride and unity in Namibia? Just give us some real life experience that you have perhaps maybe witnessed or experienced.
Yeah, definitely. Rugby is a team sport. To survive in corporate and anything in life, you need to work together as a team. You guys are working together as a team, putting this program together. Yeah. One person can't do it on his own. So first of all, it's a team sport. So it teaches people to interact with other people and to work together towards a common purpose. Even if you have differences, you still work towards a common goal. So that's the first thing. Secondly, the health part of it is so crucial because it keeps people healthy. That takes a strain off the social health care system that we've got. Diabetes is on the rise. Obesity is on the rise. We need to look at this and say, hey, maybe we should use sport as a medium to fix that. So that is what rugby's purpose is. We play together as a sport. It's a healthy way to get rid of your frustrations within certain laws of the game, and to test you. To measure yourself against the next guy. And this is what we do on a daily basis. This is just giving people the opportunity to do it on a physical and a good structured way.
Absolutely.
And rugby is one of those things, one of the great values of rugby is the respect. We fight like crazy on the field, it's full-time tackling and we go at it and so forth. But you know what? We've got respect for one another. Afterwards, we shake hands. So thanks for the game. It was great. See you next weekend. And that's what we should bring back, the respect that rugby brings to there are not a lot of sports in the country where respect is such a great value of a sport. That's why I love rugby, and I can associate with it because, of that respect. There's a sense of loyalty towards, playing for your mate next to you, making sure that you do the best for him. Because when you look after his back, he's going to look after yours. And that's how a society grows and grows stronger.
Definitely.
So it's a microcosm of what a society in broad should be.
Yeah.
So if I can put it that way.
Wow. Yeah, Mr. Petrie, time is not on our side, unfortunately. But if we can probably have maybe the last words that you would like to put out there regarding sports growth in the country, and rugby at large, what would it be?
Actually, before you actually answer his question, I think I have one last question. Just it's more of what you just had finished speaking on. It's you guys are like the rugby players. Let's say they're like heroes to many young Namibians, of course. So we activated talks. We want to bring that particular understanding to the young people as well. So that being said, how do you leverage that platform to inspire them to be active participants in shaping their nation's future? So I just a little bit on that.
Well, first of all, I think you lead by example.
Yeah.
Look at our national players over the last 7 World Cups, the last 25, 30 years. They've led by example. They go onto the field, people respecting. The international respect we get when we play them. We don't give up. We play to the last minute. Even if we lose, we go for it. Now, that is the respect that we can take to our kids and say, listen, you can be part of this. This is a sport we hold our own. We are at international level. Why don't you come and represent your country? Why don't you be the next hero for the kids in 20, 30 years from now? So from my side, if I can incorporate this into a message, my message would be to parents out there, have your kids play rugby, get them to rugby. It's a sport that's open for everybody, boys and girls. It's going to teach them all the right values in life, stuff that they can use. They're going to build relationships with other fellow players. That's going to be worth so much to them even after they stop playing. I still got relationships with people that played rugby with me, and literally at primary school level. So it builds community. It's a good way of doing. And if we do this right, we can turn it into a vehicle that actually creates some jobs as well.
Exactly.
So for us, it's looking into the future, and for that to happen, we need the parents to come and say, listen, hey, why don't we try rugby? Let's go play it a bit. See what this get into rugby thing is for the kids. It's a lot of fun. The kids really enjoy it. You should see, look on our webpage, and the Facebook pages, on what the kids, how they love it. Boys and girls all together. So it's a good way to teach your kids the right values that's going to hold them fast for the rest of their lives. So come walk the journey with us. We need the players. We want the players. We want to help them develop their full potential. And think about this, a healthy body has a healthy mind.
True.
It's going to help them to become their full potential and reach their full potential. I believe in the full potential of all people. I really believe that we must do everything we can for everybody to reach their full potential. This is what you should teach your kids. You deserve more than I have had. I'm going to give you the opportunity through sport, through rugby, to do that. Yeah. So that's my message out there. Walk the path with us. You guys in a university setup, it's never too late to start playing rugby. One of the Springboks that came from Namibia back there, played for the Springboks, was Jan Ellis. He only started playing rugby after he's finished school, and he played Springboks. Back then.
Huge.
Yeah. So I'm just saying to you, there's never a wrong time to start, but always a right time to start. Doesn't matter what age it is.
Yeah.
And we invite everybody, come walk the path with us. Come be part of the rugby community. Have that integrity, respect. The stuff that actually makes a society. You won't be sad that you've made the choice to come to us. Walk the path with us. Let's enjoy the game, and let's go out there internationally and make people understand. Listen, this is the Namibian team. It's not just, they don't go down without a fight.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow.
That's very powerful.
No, that actually explains why you hold the position that you hold at the Rugby Union. Yeah, Mr. Petrie, thank you very much for coming through and sharing this vital information, not just about the importance of sport, but also about how it can help in terms of nation building. You mentioned youth unemployment, how sports can definitely be a mitigation strategy in terms of that. Sure. Wow. The future looks bright.
It does. There's actually one, I don't know if I should call it a metaphor or an idiom that you just said. I want it in the description. A healthy body. Say that again, sir, please.
A healthy body hosts a healthy mind.
A healthy body hosts a healthy mind. Activators, I hope you have that in your heads and keep it for life, yeah? So with that being said, I think it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's goodbye.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, very well.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Great.